sight. In the darkness is the light. Out of the shadows of my life. In the darkness is the light.
Welcome once again to the So Weird podcast. I'm Zach.
I'm Kathy.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Kat.
And tonight we are talking about Season 2, Episode 8 of So Weird, Second Generation.
Also known as that episode where Kevin Zegers guest stars, also known as the kid from Air Bud.
Yeah, Kevin Zegers, I looked him up and I was surprised to find he's actually been in a lot of things I've seen. He's in a movie I just watched the other night, actually. He's in Arnold Schwarzenegger's new film, Aftermath.
Yeah, he actually went on to become, I guess, semi-famous or famous.
Yeah. Well, he's a busy character actor. He's been in a number of things I've seen. He was in addition to the Air Bud movies, he was in the Dawn of the Dead remake. He was in Wrong Turn, Komodo, Stone Angel. These are all things I've seen. Frozen, but not the Disney one.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, the one about the people on the ski lift.
And some people may recognize him from the Mortal Instruments. So, yeah, he's had quite a career.
Yeah, and it's amazing because I had such a major crush on him during, like, the Air Bud 7th inning fetch era. And I never realized that he was on So Weird until I was much older.
Well, you know, I had no idea that the same guy was in 4 of the So Weird of the Air Bud movies.
Really?
Well, I only ever saw the first one as a kid. I don't think I ever got around to seeing the other sequels. And I, you know, being direct-to-video sequels to a Disney dog movie, I just assumed they would get different actors. I mean, it's not the same dog.
I think I watched Air Bud once as a kid, but yeah, I'm not into the dog movie thing.
Yeah, that was a popular one. I think I saw one, and I think one was really sad and made me cry.
Well, actually, you know, I remember my dad took me to see the first Air Bud in the theaters because this was right after my parents divorced, and my dad was always taking me out and doing things with me so he could buy my love. And you know, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure I saw part 2 on a bus on a field trip. So there you go. That's my experience with the So Weird franchise. Don't quiz me on Snow Buddies or any of that stuff.
You mean the Air Bud franchise? You said So Weird franchise.
Damn it! Oh, shit. You know, fix it in post, Kathy.
So anyway, on this episode of So Weird, Kevin Zegers guest stars as Fiona's very first love interest. He's a computer nerd.
Mm-hmm. Who doesn't believe in the supernatural, so it's kind of like this.
Yeah, they have an opposite attract thing, yeah.
Which I don't buy. Sorry.
Well, it is kind of weird that he would be on her website at all without, you know, even though he's skeptical and dismissive of the supernatural.
I guess because he was interested in finding more people who are missing a parent whose parent has died. And what drew him into Fiona's website was all the posts that she made that were personal about her family's experience and how she lost her father when she was young and has no memory of him.
And, you know, this was the late 90s, early 2000s when it was a lot easier to just stumble upon random websites.
Yeah, especially, like, created ones.
Yeah, the Web 1.0 era. Yeah, and, you know, we've talked about before how Fiona is not the traditionally super girly female television show protagonist, and she's never really had a love story on the show before, and they actually handle it, I think, pretty well. Silence?
I would agree with that. It's a cute storyline.
I think they handle it well because it's not annoying, because usually these one-off romances are annoying to me, especially in kids shows, but this one's fine.
What do you think, Emily?
I don't really think that they would have made a good couple or anything, so I guess I like the fact that nothing becomes of it, really. And I don't know, I think it helps, like, that Fee isn't at school. You know, she's on the road, so, like, I guess I appreciate that there's not, like, this whole, with the show in general, there's not, like, this whole subplot of Fee, you know, like, wondering if she's going to get asked to the dance or when she's going to have her first kiss or whatever. This episode makes it seem so, like, I don't know, like it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean?
I mean, do you consider that a good thing or a bad thing?
I consider it a good thing
Okay.
because I feel like a lot of shows I watched as a kid, kind of emphasized the romantic aspect of high school and middle school, and I have a crush on this guy, and when is anyone ever going to go out with me? That sort of thing.
I would say a good example is Lizzie McGuire.
Yes. And, I guess ultimately, like, I didn't end up dating anyone in high school or in middle school. So I kind of would have appreciated it if more shows didn't, like, have that be the whole plot of the show for girls.
Same.
Agreed.
I think that's why there's other girls that like this part of So Weird where they didn't focus on romance anytime. Well, the interesting thing is that the guests would be just different people, not necessarily her age, but I'm fine with just this one off. Like the one that I didn't like where she liked a boy was in the animal shelter. Yes, the shelter episode. Because she was
that was
really into that guy and he didn't like her at all. And that
It's awkward.
Yeah,
But,
and that's something that's good about the way they handle the relationship in this episode. It doesn't derail Fiona's character in any way. She's not acting really out of character. I mean, she's shown an occasional girly side from time to time. So, yeah, it's handled pretty well. And those scenes they have together, like when they first meet in the club, the bar, whatever it was, and it's really super awkward. That felt very natural and cute to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's talk about that scene a little bit. So Molly's at a rehearsal singing her song, and then of course in comes Carrie cheering her on, big smile on his face. He goes up over to where she's sitting, and then they have that cute little flirty moment where they're smiling and joking together, and in walks this random kid looking for Fiona.
I have to say, I think that's one of the shippiest scenes of the show, if you're a Carrie and Molly fan. He's looking up at her so adoringly.
Yeah.
I just...
the ship that does not actually exist.
They're
called crack ships.
No, I mean, a crack ship would be like Ned and the Bus. That's a crack ship. Because it's completely
true. That is a
nonsensical. You know, a crack ship is Anne Frank and Goku. It's not two characters that are actually in a scene together.
Okay, it is a ship that's just not canon. I mean, ships that aren't canon are some of the biggest ships of shows.
I know, fans have wonderful, vivid imaginations, and we love them.
I just want to bring out Once Upon a Time, biggest ship, Emma and Regina. Anyway.
Well, you know, and that's a good point that Kat brought up about, like, you know, nowadays a guy, like, finds a girl online and then goes to a place where she is physically at and starts talking to her would be a serious creeper move.
It would.
Yeah, but with this age, like, remember, the internet was for nerds in the 90s. Like, you were on the internet because you had no friends to play outside with.
I mean, yes, that's true. Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, it just comes off as kind of funny. But, you know, at the time, it was not that too big of a deal. And it's a TV show. You got to get the characters interacting somehow.
Yeah.
And, you know, honestly, Ryan is kind of the guy I would, like, picture Fiona with, kind of nerdy and a little awkward. He's not like the traditional kind of teen heartthrob sort of dude, though. If he takes off his glasses, he is. But, you know.
Yeah, I think that's why I never recognized that this character was played by Kevin Zegers, because the glasses. He looked too nerdy.
In the script.
Hey, I wear glasses.
Oh, well, so do I.
Oh, yeah. Why don't you go ahead and explain why you know that it's in the script?
Yeah, I bought the script on eBay, I think a few months ago. And so I was reading it along while I was watching the episode right before our recording. And there's really not that much different at all about this. There's only, I think, like 2 scenes that got deleted that weren't really important. It's just extra dialogue. But yeah, there's not really anything different besides dialogue being changed so it can sound more natural. But yeah, I wish there was more, but no, it's pretty strict to the script.
Didn't uncover any so weird secrets or anything.
Nope. Besides the crew's name, the musicians. That's all that I learned. Their names are Chuck, Judy, and Phoenix.
The band members that just magically appear anytime they get to a venue.
Yeah.
So we learned the bass player's real name?
His name is Chuck, and then I guess the piano girl is Judy, and the drummer is Phoenix. If anyone cares.
Well, we care, because back in the days of Conrad's Hideout,
Oh no.
they're the most popular band member was Chuck, the bass player, and his nickname was the Orgasmic Bass Player.
Well, now, if anybody from Conrad's Corner or whatever the hell it was called is listening to the show, now they know the bass player's actual name.
Yes.
Somewhere there is some so weird diehard fan who has been wondering that for 20 years, and we have solved the mystery. So we should probably mention what this episode's actually about, like what the quote-unquote supernatural mystery is this week. Because you got to remember, in the late 90s, early 2000s, cloning was kind of a buzzword because we just managed to clone a sheep, which was a big deal. And now it's like they clone a new animal every week, and, you know, we just don't care because we're living in the 21st century where everything is possible and an insane reality TV show is our president. And but at the time, cloning was like, ooh, we are a real mystical thing. And like the internet, television producers thought cloning was magic and could do anything, which is how we get to this episode, which is as we discover Fiona meets this cute boy, and the more they look into his life, because the characters have nothing else in common except for they're missing a parent, and they have a shared love of sleuthing. And through that mutual love of sleuthing, they come to the conclusion that Ryan is in fact a clone of his father.
Yep.
That's the whole plot. I just spoiled the entire episode.
No, you didn't.
Did you guys like the intro of the episode with Fee in that play?
Yeah, it was super cute.
Baby Fee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little Fee as a vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
Lay vegetables.
Stop cutting off Emily, Cat.
No.
I don't have anything important to say. I'm just going to say it's the same actors that we'll see in an episode later on.
Oh, yeah. In the flashback Christmas one.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. I didn't realize it was the same little girl playing Fiona.
Yeah.
I
I like that continuity.
Mm-hmm. This is one of the episodes written by John Wiseman. So when we did, when I was doing the live stream and he came to one of our chats, we talked a little bit about this one, but not really so much. I think he said that he was very proud of the Les Vegetables name that he made up.
Yeah, that opening
I
is
always
super cute.
appreciate that as an English person.
Though, to be totally technical, a tomato is not a vegetable.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Another thing, this episode was directed by Francis Dernberger, who previously did Mutiny and would do Being There in season 3. So not a regular, so weird creative person, but worked on some other TV shows at the time, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the series, and Caitlin's Way. I don't know if anybody remembers that show.
Oh, I love that show.
That Nick show about the goth girl on the farm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So a little fact there. So what's our general thoughts on like the plot as it plays out?
I thought it was really interesting that they go into the backstory of that the woman that Ryan believed his whole life was his mother was actually the science partner of his father, who later we found out is really just his clone, has died of Huntington's disease. And it was the father's mission to find a cure for this disease that killed his partner. And that is why he decided to clone himself, so he could find somebody just as smart as he was to continue working on it.
Yeah, and the dad had an unrequited crush on this girl, this woman.
Yeah, he loved her.
It seems like, he went through a lot of trouble to find someone as smart as him, right?
And, you're right. There are probably easier ways to do it than to literally clone yourself.
Yeah, but I think in the episode, I think they said that his partner, the woman, was into like cloning and thinking that human cloning could eventually be possible.
Right.
Did they say that in the episode? Or?
Yeah, I seem to remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I wonder if there was any particular significance of choosing Huntington's disease, because, I mean, it could have been any degenerative disease, but I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting choice on the writer's behalf to single out that one specifically.
Me too. It was the first time I ever heard of it, and I think that's a good way to raise awareness is by using lesser-known diseases in TV shows so that they get more publicity instead of going for the easy-to-name, like, oh, cancer.
Yeah.
And there's
That's why
also
House was so good.
Yeah, and there's also a genetic element to Huntington, so maybe that had some sort of influence. I don't know, but interesting choice.
Oh, that's a good connection because cloning is all about genetics, second generation, the gene theme.
And it's interesting how the show doesn't play Ryan's dad as a bad guy. Not really.
They do a little bit.
Yeah. They look like they may be going in that direction, but then everything is resolved peacefully at the end.
He's just making dumb choices. In that scene in the beginning of the episode when he's recording Ryan's days.
Yeah, on that totally bitchin' zip drive.
Yeah, like every day he has a flash drive of him recording all everything that he does and monitoring how he's doing. And it's so weird that they show his computer while they show his computer and they have a picture of Ryan and he's sleeping. I always thought that was creepy.
Does he take a picture of him sleeping every day or what?
Yeah, in the script it said that was a picture he took of that morning, and it was day 5126. So I guess every day there's a picture.
Yeah, and then somehow he got readings of the zinc levels of Ryan and his pulse and all this. I'm like, how did he do that?
Yeah, in retrospect, it's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
And also, I really feel so bad for Ryan because imagine you're a kid and then one day you find out that you exist as an experiment. That's the ultimate betrayal. And I think it's really interesting how he brings up the fact that the dangers of cloning. His father risked his life, Ryan's life, in order to bring him into existence. And he has this one line oh, why didn't you just throw me off a cliff to see if I could fly? Because it was so dangerous.
And then the dad replies with, but you did fly. So it's kind of he's proud of how all this has worked out so well, but it's so insensitive at the same time.
Yeah, well, so I guess what I'm saying is they don't play the dad as a bad guy, assuming you can ignore how obviously manipulative and creepy his behavior is.
Yeah, he's not portrayed as evil.
Yeah.
But just ignoring the negative aspects of what he was doing, the negative ethical aspects, and being upfront with Ryan about his past.
And his father, by the way, is played by an actor named Ed Evanko. He's credited in the credits as Ed Evank, but it's Ed Evanko, who, in a bizarre bit of trivia, would quit acting in 2003 to become a Catholic priest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And he was in some other stuff. I don't know. I'm just looking at his IMDb profile. He was in the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie Sudden Death. That's something I've seen that he was in, and did a lot of TV. But yeah. And it's an interesting reveal about the whole cloning thing. There's actually a pretty cool moment where they cut from Molly playing on stage, they're playing In the Darkness, to Ryan in the laboratory with Fiona, and that moment when he realizes that he's a clone, that his father's genetic material is a perfect match for him. And it's a good bit of editing, use of music in that moment there. Pretty well done.
Yeah, and then that scene also brings up a tiny bit of conflict between Jack and Fee and Molly, where Molly has this big show tonight where there's a person from the record company who's at the show to see her. And Jack is like, oh, we gotta be there for Mom. And then Fee's torn. She wants to be with Ryan to support her. And Molly completely gets it. But Jack is more reluctant. No, you belong with your family. You need to show up for your mom. So I feel like that's kind of the chivalrous knight part of him coming up.
Yeah, it's the big brother aspect. And again, they handle that stuff pretty well. They don't make Jack come off as an unreasonable jerk. He cares for his little sister. He's watching out for her. He's trying to make sure that she doesn't do anything inappropriate with this boy that she likes.
Yeah,
I like how
he chaperones her.
Yeah, I like how he volunteers to chaperone her to just use his pool and have a great time.
Yeah, the pool stuff's funny.
I like how that whole issue is resolved when Molly talks to Jack at the showcase, and she says that, Fee has to make her own choices, and that if Jack was in the same position and Gabe had some problem, would he stay at the showcase or would he go to Gabe? She got him good there.
He says, like, oh, of course I'd be here. And then she looks at him and he's like, well, maybe.
Yeah, further proof that Molly Phillips is one of the best TV moms. Like, she's not smothering Fiona. She trusts her daughter to make the right decisions and be responsible. All of that stuff is cool.
As long as it's not too weird. If it's too weird, she gets a little concerned.
Yeah, and as far as, like, the weirdness factor of this particular episode goes, like I said, there's nothing in this that is supernatural. It's all stuff that is theoretically, scientifically possible. I mean, probably way, way off in the future, but not totally out of, there are no aliens or big feet or ghost in this episode. It's stuff that is, like I said, theoretically possible. It's what we would call like a 2 or a 3 on the Moe's sci-fi hardness scale.
Yeah, I kind of related. I related to Wiseman's other episode with James Garr in cryostasis.
Oh yeah, that's another one with science that is conceivable.
Yeah, until the end.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember that one that well. Doesn't the guy like magically get his soul back or something, right?
Well, he leaves his body and enters the body of the person who was...
Right, the dying guy. Right, okay. That's one I've only seen once. Anyway.
I love that one.
That is an underrated one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we'll be finding out soon, won't we? It's only a couple more off. Anyway, so, overall, I think Second Generation is a pretty good episode. They handle the romantic aspect in a really cute, natural way. They don't overdo it. It's not weird. I mean, that scene where Fiona's painting her toes and has her laptop open waiting for the email, I guess, is the only scene that really pushes it. I don't know if that's... Yeah, any other thoughts on that particular moment?
I think the genetic code that he sends her of a rose is so cheesy. Every time I see it, I just, I want to, throw up a little.
If a guy did that to you, Emily, you would think it would be sweet.
No.
I like how Fee sees the email and she's like, what? This is garbage. And it's not until he sends a second email to explain that it's genetic code of a rose. And she's like, oh, so sweet.
Yeah, send the second email first. It's how nerds flirt, I guess. Anyway, I thought that was kind of cute.
It reminds me when it used to be really popular to do those pictures out of computer symbols.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the first wave, the evolutionary predecessor to emojis, you mean?
Yeah, it would take up like an entire page of like the little hat thingies and equal signs and plus.
Yeah, that's ASCII, ASCII, whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. That thing. You still see it in YouTube comment threads sometimes. Somebody listening to this should leave us one in the comment threads.
Make a Mike Wazowski. I always see that one.
Well, I see that and the middle finger. Those are the two most popular ones.
Yeah.
So what is everybody else's general thoughts on this episode? I've been talking too much.
I was just going to say that Ryan is a professor at a college, and he's like a prodigy type of person, and that was cool to see on a kid's show. 'Cause, I don't know, I don't see that often besides a show Smart Guy.
Well, this was post Doogie Howser. People remember that show, throwing that out there. Anybody know who that is?
Nope. I know who it is, but I've never seen it.
Okay. Showing my age there.
So even though I thought the whole genetic code of a rose thing was corny, I do go awe a little bit whenever Ryan says DNA, or he says DNA is not everything, and Ryan says, name one difference between him and me, and she says, I like you. and kisses him.
Yeah.
I think that's really sweet.
That was pretty cute.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
of course the end of this episode when she gets her first kiss.
Yeah.
That's a big moment.
And I don't know if you all agree, but I think Kara looks nervous in that scene.
Yeah, in the chat, Wiseman said that if he remembers right, that was like her real first kiss.
Aww.
Aww.
Yeah, she's got like big eyes and she's swallowing too much. I noticed that because I'm a speech therapist, okay? I pay attention to people swallowing. Just saying.
Well, you know, and it ends up working fantastically for the scene because,
Yeah, it does.
you know, so it just works out. You know, it's a real thing that happened that just happens to make her look like a really good actress.
Yeah.
But, you know, overall, I like this episode pretty decently. It's not like a fave or anything, but I think it's done well. The mystery aspect plays out decently. It keeps you watching. I mean, you're going to keep watching anyway, but it sort of hooks you and makes you wonder what's happening, even though you can probably guess by the intro and the episode title. But
Yeah, something else I wanted to bring up was after Ryan figures out that he's a clone, and I think Ryan just storms off, and then Fee kind of goes off on the dad saying like, aren't you gonna go chase him? Like, don't you love him? And the dad doesn't say anything. That's not cool.
Yeah, and he's like, well, what do you want me to do? And she's just, tell him you love him. He's your son. Don't you care? Like, that's such an important point, and the difference between treating him like a science experiment and treating him like a human being. And there was a really good movie called The Island that addresses
really
those
good?
questions. I thought it was really good. I liked it. Because it makes you question the ethical standpoint of cloning. Is it just a science experiment? At what point do we think about souls? Are these really people? Can we be free to take organs from them?
Well, and they make a big deal about it in this episode about how, you know, is he the guy's son? Is he a clone? But speaking from a strictly genetic standpoint, he is basically his son.
Said in the episode it's kind of like identical twins.
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, being that he's raised him since he was a baby, that's son.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, and if just looking from, you know, if you define child as genetic offspring, Brian is his son. I mean, you know, you're getting into semantics there.
Well, even thinking about adoption, you raise them, they're your child.
I mean, yeah, that's a whole other debate. But yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why at the end the dad says I don't know what we are to each other, and then he says I'd like to try to be your dad.
Yeah, they open up this possibility that maybe he will be less of a creepy, manipulative weirdo in the future.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
That feels like such an odd thing to say at this point in time, though, because the kid's 14, 15 years old. So for most of his life, all of his childhood, the father didn't think of him as a son, just as an experiment. That's gotta hurt.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like the dad at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? He is a jerk.
Yeah, you take back that comment about him not being a bad guy.
Yeah, I take it all back. Total dickweed. So, is anything else we want to talk about? Ned is not in this episode at all, is he?
No, Ned and Irene aren't. I think they weren't in not yesterday, in the previous episode either.
Right. So I guess those actors were just on vacation that month or whatever.
Flu.
Yeah, that's the in-show explanation. Yeah. Although I don't know who's driving the bus. Who's Irene is referenced about how they've got all these record producers coming in and seeing Molly's performance, but you never actually see her. She's
So
just
they-
this,
Busy lady.
They're
She's on
there.
their cell phone.
They're there, but they're just off screen the whole time.
yeah. And we do get to hear a bit of Molly singing in this episode, which is always nice.
Yeah, and we get some
Yeah.
shots of the crowd clapping awkwardly off the beat.
And then the stage grinding with Carrie.
Oh no. Yeah.
And he's wearing leather pants.
Well, and for the parents, for the moms, you have Carrie in leather pants, and for the dads, you have Molly in tight shirt and jeans. So it works out for everybody.
It works out for Molly and Carrie. They're
It-
totally checking each other out on stage. It's gorgeous.
I mean, if you support that theory, it does. Yes.
If you have eyes, yes.
Where's Molly and Carrie in 2017, Kat? What do you think?
I think it's best left to the imagination.
Oh, that's a cop-out answer. So, what was the name of that studio they were recording in the opening scene? The Red Line or something?
Yeah, the red something.
I should have written that down. Damn. So, overall, this one's pretty good, I think. Like I said, not an all-time fave, but a solid episode. I enjoy it. It's not one I rewatch a lot or anything, though I would like to think that if they had continued with the Fiona plotline for season 3, they would have brought Ryan back eventually. I don't believe there was any mention of that in the infamous John Cooksey production notes, but I like to think that they would have at least referenced it the way they referenced Gabe and Jack throughout seasons 1 and 2.
Yeah, I don't remember if he was part of the season 3 plans.
I think they talk about it, about how Fee's growing up, and like she'll start to notice boys more in season 3, but that Ryan was kind of like a one-time thing, if I'm remembering correctly.
Well, at the end, he says he's going to email her, so that means he's the one who dropped the ball.
Well,
No,
And I think we do see his name come up in our email contacts later on.
yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
he has-
I forget which one.
he has a chat with her in Vampire.
Yeah.
And actually, Fee said, or one of them says, "Miss you," and then the other person says, "I miss you too." So I guess that's what I appreciate most about this episode is actually the aftermath. The fact that we don't see her, Ryan or anything, but that they still keep in touch and they can still miss each other.
Until
Yeah.
Shelter. Oh wait, no, until Vampire.
Yeah, so...
Wait, didn't in Vampire someone liked Fee?
Yes, but I don't think she had any feelings for him.
Oh.
Ugh.
Okay.
Let's talk about that when
Later.
we get there. Ugh.
not one of my faves. So, I mean, what's everybody's general thoughts on this one,
I'd agree with you. Like, it's a good episode, but I don't rewatch it that much. It's not one of the best, not in my top 10, but it's good. So if I were to rate it, it'll be a 7.
Yeah, that's where I would put it. And I really appreciate the episode for not really screwing up with the whole Fiona getting a love interest thing. That's probably my favorite thing about it. Like, the plot is fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the plot or anything, but the way they handle Fiona, getting a first kiss and everything, and it doesn't totally screw up her character in any way. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I agree with what you guys are saying. It's a good episode, but it's not tied into the overall season 2 plot line, and it's just not one that I go back and rewatch. It's kind of just there. I'd put it at a 7.5 because of the glorious Molly Carey moments.
Yeah, I like this episode more for what it doesn't do than what it does do. So I give it a thumbs up. Basically what you said, Zach, about it, not screwing up Fee's character development and all that by introducing a love interest.
All right.
I really like that Fee does get the love interest and she does get an on-screen kiss because that's part of the whole growing up thing. And I like that that's not the focus of the series, but we still see those little milestones along the way.
Yeah, I agree with that. And she's at the age when dating and romance starts becoming primary interest. So it's natural that it would come up.
Yeah, and I guess you can tie that with Jack also, because you don't see his character having googly eyes for every single girl besides that escape episode. So I like how they handle their romance side of the show.
Though I guess for the Fee Clue shippers, this is a total torpedo moment, isn't it?
No, because
okay.
in the notes from John Cooksey, they did mention exploring the possibility of Fee awakening to have feelings for Chloe.
Oh, all right. Well, that's what I get for underestimating the fandom's ability to turn absolutely nothing into something. So
It's not nothing, it's notes. it would have been if he had stayed. Like, the possibility would have been explored.
I don't know. I don't know. Fee and Clue, they're like brother and sister. It would be weird. I can't dig with that one. Like, okay, I give you Molly Carey people, sure, maybe. I mean, you know, stuff happens when you're on the road for a long time. But Fee and Clue it kind of squicks me out.
If you have Molly Carey and Fee and Clue, no, so messed up.
Yeah, that'd be a little incestuous, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it has to be one or the other. I would go with Molly Carey if I had to pick between the two.
Well, of course you would.
I've been watching Supernatural lately, so, you know, it's really opened up my mind to things. And really the only person I can ship Fee Phillips with now is Sam Winchester.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are so many So Weird fan fictions that have that premise.
Have you worked out like the age there any? Like how old would Fee be? And I have no idea when Supernatural started airing. I know it's been on the air for like 15 years or something.
I think she'd be like 4 or 5 years younger than him, actually.
Yeah, this totally works out.
Yeah.
If they meet when they're older.
Okay, so do we have any email or feedback or anything, Kathy?
We don't, because I haven't posted the latest episode yet.
You slacker.
My bad. I got it done last night. I just need to finish pictures and all that.
We did get that comment about somebody going through podcast withdrawal. That was nice.
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, Andrea, your commitment to the show is deeply, deeply flattering.
Yes, and I know recently Mackenzie Phillips had a book tour for the latest book that she came out with, and Andrea had went to one, and she was able to meet Mackenzie, and she made a post on the forum about it, and she asked a really cool question about like the So Weird music, but also it relating to like kind of getting better in life, because Mackenzie is a counselor, so, you know, stuff like that. Pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is interesting. Do we know the name of her new book? Does anybody have that written down?
I think it's like Hope is Healing or something.
Hopeful Healing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And talking about Mackenzie Phillips, a friend of mine just saw American Graffiti for the first time. And I said, and he said, yeah, you know, who is the actress that's the girl in the car with that guy? You know, like whatever became of her? I said, oh, well, that's Mackenzie Phillips of the new Mamas and Papas, and she was on So Weird. And he had no idea what I was talking about.
Make him watch So Weird next.
Yeah, he would probably like So Weird. I think that this would he likes Supernatural and stuff like that. I could probably hook him on it anyway.
Yeah, we did get one comment by someone named Flavio Raffaelli, and they said that's a great podcast, and then they're asking where they can download the episodes.
Yeah, that same guy asked me on Twitter, and I pointed him towards the forum.
Oh,
so
okay.
Guys, I have some pretty big news.
What?
Okay, not really. Okay, so everyone, in case you didn't know, I would say that So Weird's most famous fan that has like actually stated their fan is Jessica Williams, who is on The Daily Show, or the Daily Show. So, and she's now on this podcast that's really popular. I can't remember what it's called. Well, anyway, I just checked Instagram and searched for So Weird, and she made a post about So Weird.
Oh, really?
So yeah, she posted the logo for the show. Her Instagram handle is Miss J Willie. MSJ Willie. And it says, Disney, I swear if y'all asses don't finally make this damn show available to me so I don't have to buy it ripped from some weird dude who recorded the episode straight from the TV with the damn commercials in it, I'm going to do nothing but still be mad about it on Instagram.
Oh, and then she's got the...
knowing that I did buy them from some weird dude, and there are no commercials.
Yeah, my copy doesn't have weird. I would actually love that, because I am a addict for old weird retro commercials. Yeah, I'm looking at her Instagram right now, and she has little claps between each word. That's that thing that people do on Twitter now. I don't know why, but
yes.
Well, if I saw that, I would assume because between each word, she would slap a Disney employee in the head for not doing this sooner.
Well, I always assume it's like, you're trying to get somebody's attention when you do that. I have no idea. I don't get it. These kids with their Instagrams and their Twitters and all that. Get off my lawn.
I know.
Yeah, I saw that she posted that like 19 hours ago. That's really cool. I know that she's posted on Twitter before saying like, everybody needs to watch it, and Fee's such a great female character.
Yes,
I need to tell her, like, hey, I have the episodes.
Hook her up, yeah.
Do, and
come on our podcast and rant.
Famous person, please come on our show.
Yeah, I mean, really, she's like the only famous person I've ever heard mentioned So Weird, so... And
I love the little hashtag she has on the picture, which is X-Files Jr., which is cute.
And a good description. Yeah,
and then the top couple comments are just people screaming about space cases and mystery files of Shelby Woo. So anyway, that's cool. That's super cool. Any other things we want to share with our listeners tonight?
I guess, since I said I bought the script, I'm going to try to just scan it and then post it online sometime on the forum if anyone's interested. Okay.
I don't think Disney would give you a cease and desist over that.
Nah.
I'd like to see it. It sounds cool.
Yeah, and I need to go online and buy some weird, obscure, So Weird memorabilia because I feel left out that I don't have any.
There's a script recently, I forgot which one it was, and I thought someone else was going to buy it, so I didn't buy it, but I don't know if they ever did. And now I'm sad.
Well, and the jacket, that's the baller one. That's the one everybody wants.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, I think we're done. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. And the next episode will probably be out at some point, right? Okay. So anyway, this has been yet another episode of the So Weird Podcast. I'm Zach.
I'm Kathy.
I'm Emily.
I'm Kat.
And keep the faith. And come on our show, Jessica Williams.
Yes. Bye.
All right.